So Monster Night began as an idea to engage my AP class in cultural connections to literature and to keep them from being bored. And because it was a blended class with AP 3 and AP 4, we had American Lit and English Lit, British Lit that we had to combine. And I thought one way that we could think through the combination of the two cultures was to look at how monsters had traveled, had moved. So what I decided to do was to think through how monsters have changed over time and to look at literature, film, and then of course just pop culture, and think about the evolution of the monster. The project created a little bit of buzz in the first year. It was that small class. We had about 45 people come to our first Monster Night, which consisted of students creating their own monsters based on monster theory, developing a monster physical presence that they could talk about, and then creating a backstory. The parent feedback was pretty spectacular, but what was really great was the buzz that it created around the school. For the second year, there were about 12 or 13 teachers that wanted to jump in on the Monster Night project and figure out ways that they could incorporate monster culture and this ideology of how monsters sort of permeate throughout our space in America. And we developed a performing arts piece with chorus, dance, and of course with the orchestra. Our first Monster Night as a whole school with 12 teachers involved that second year really blew us away. We were surprised at the community turnout. We probably had about 400 or 500 people show. We received tons of great feedback from parents about how they liked the community outreach piece. And so for the third year, we really wanted to figure out a way that we could draw in community outside of just our high school family. Because we're a K-12 school, we really wanted to beef up our impact in the area of literacy and just creating lifelong learners and develop the love of reading. So we decided to expand our Monster Night to include literacy opportunities for our children and our greater community. We came up with the idea of creating literacy bags, stories, and tiny little blank books and monster-themed pencils, and then this idea of story time that would happen on Monster Night so that our little ones, our youngest community members, could come in, they could hear a monster story, and they could go home and write their own. And of course, this became a whole school endeavor, and we ended up hosting over 1,500 community members at our Monster Night. Crowding is a good problem to have when you're trying to expand your reach in the area of literacy. So we had our performing arts piece that was included, but what was really great about Monster Night this year is that monster culture became Uwharrie Charter Academy culture for about a month. In fact, we had a calculus teacher who used monster theory to teach limits in calculus. We had biology teachers using this idea that cancer is a monstrous entity that sort of consumes everything, to teach biological functions and to teach cellular formation. We had history teachers working and looking at political monsters and cultural monsters and thinking about ghost stories and folk tales. So this notion of monster culture and literacy and sort of having students take that idea and run with it and create something of their own and learn something and research through their own understanding of monster culture turned into something better than we could have ever anticipated.